Thank you for staying with us. Every year, millions of people are exposed to tobacco smoking, and over 1 million die from secondhand smoking, which means you don't have to be a smoker to be affected by it. Children have become the most susceptible because it can harm their developing brain and their ability to learn new things. According to the World Health Organization, at least 37 million young people aged 13 to 15 years use some form of tobacco, and recently the use of e-cigarettes amongst children and teenagers have become more accessible, increasing the usage of it. Recall that just over a week ago, the federal government banned the display of smoking in Nollywood films as it poses a negative influence on teens and young adults who constitute the largest segment of Nigeria's movie viewers. This is the crux of our discussion today. But joining us via Zoom is the Nigeria Country Lead Data on Youth and Tobacco in Africa Program Development Gateway, Mohammed Maikudi. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Right. And we also have the Executive Director, Corporate Accountability and Public Participation Africa, Akimbode Oluwafemi, joining us from our Abuja studio. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Let me begin with you, Oluwafemi, how far we have come with regards to addressing this matter of tobacco use in a country like ours, the laws we have, and our effort at fighting this scourge.
Thank you very much. In Nigeria, we are signatory to the Framework Convention on Tobacco Control, which is a global framework for nations around the world to act on the scourge of tobacco use, which is currently killing about 8 million people. We signed the treaty, we ratified in 2005. In 2015, Nigeria has a national law called the National Tobacco Control Act. The country followed up with a regulation, the National Tobacco Control Regulation 2019. So when you want to look in terms of the laws and policies, we do have some baseline laws and policies. Gladly, recently, the National Film and Video Censors Board also announced a regulation that will end glamorization of smoking and tobacco products in Nigerian movies, and that really gladdens our heart. However, beyond the issue of those policies, we are worried at the level of enforcement. This year's World No Tobacco Day, which is today, is about protecting our children from the interference of tobacco industry, the underhand marketing of the tobacco industry, marketing tactics that are targeting our kids. Because by and by, we have discovered that the tobacco industry are deliberately recruiting kids to replace either people that quit or smokers that have died. And they are also introducing what they call new products, products that are done in such a way that are attractive to children. They are marketing around our schools and our educational institutions. So today we're rallying people, we're rallying governments around the world to say, yes, we might have the law, but we begin to take proactive measures to protect our children and protect our future generation.
Right, let me come to you, Mohammed Maikudi. Based on the theme that was actually referred to as by Oluwafemi, saying today is day 2024, is protecting children from tobacco industry interference. So why do you think it's so important to focus, on protecting children from tobacco industry interference?
So in the Nigerian context, protecting children from the tobacco industry interference means shielding our youth from the predatory tactics used by the tobacco industry to create a new generation of addicts. So we realized over time the tobacco industry is aggressively targeting young people, as my colleague said, with marketing strategies designed to make smoking and the use of tobacco products appealing. And this is especially troubling because children and adolescents are more vulnerable to these tactics, often lacking the awareness and skills needed to resist them. And in Nigeria, like many other low and middle income countries, the impact of tobacco use is severe. So our youth are being exposed to harmful substances at alarming rates. And this exposure not only endangers their health, but also perpetuates cycles of poverty and illness. And tobacco use among adolescents leads to addiction that is hard to break, contributes to significant health problems such as cardiovascular and respiratory diseases, cancers, and other debilitating conditions. And with the theme for World No Tobacco Day of 2024 being focused on advocating for an end to the targeting of youth with harmful tobacco products, it's important to empower our young people to speak out against tobacco industry tactics by equipping them with knowledge and data to resist these influences and work towards a healthier tobacco-free future for our country. And if you think about Nigeria as a population in 2024, ages 0 to 14 constitute 42% of the Nigerian population. So you can think about the scale of the problem in the future and what it will be if we don't do anything about it right now.
Now, staying with you, Mohammed, talk to us by way of sensitization what this predatory tactics used by these tobacco industries are, so we better understand perhaps how to identify them and how to protect our children from them. Can you unmute yourself, please? We can't hear you.
Oh, sorry, I'm not on mute. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so the tobacco industry uses a variety of tactics to target and get kids addicted to their products. Some concrete examples are, one, they produce flavored products. So these tobacco companies create cigarettes, e-cigarettes, and other tobacco items and flavors like fruit, candy, and desserts. And these flavors mask the harsh taste of tobacco, making it more appealing and easier for kids to start using these products. Second, advertising and promotion also plays a huge role here. So you'll realize that the industry uses vibrant, attractive pack youth. And you'll often see young, healthy, and attractive models in these ads that create an association between tobacco use and a desirable lifestyle. And these products are also placed in easily like near candy and snacks and in small shops and stalls, making them even more tempting for children. Another tactic that they use is they use social media very well, and influencers are also marketing tactics they use. So they leverage platforms like Instagram and TikTok, using influence to promote their products subtly, and they sponsor posts and viral challenges related to tobacco use to make these products seem trendy and socially acceptable among young people. Another method that they use is event sponsorship. The industry, they sponsor music festivals, sports events, and other activities popular with youth. And by associating these tobacco products with fun and excitement, their whole aim is to create a positive image of tobacco use. So this is not an exhaustive list, but these are some of them. There's also pricing strategies. They also offer cheaper packs of cigarettes or e-cigarettes, selling them piece by piece, which makes it financially easier for youth to get started and purchase these products. And the major thing they do is they use a lot of misleading information. They downplay the risk of tobacco use and promote misleading information about the safety of certain products, like having light cigarettes or low tar cigarettes, or promoting e-cigarettes and shisha as healthier alternatives. And by presenting these products as less harmful or even as quitting, they encourage young people to start smoking.
I'm coming to you now, Akimbode. Based on what Mohammed said earlier before we went on the break, reeling out a number of practices by these tobacco industries, I am wondering, when you're looking at the platforms they use or the channels they use, how easy or challenging it will be for government to be able to tame their activities, especially when you're talking about social media.
Yeah, thank you very much. We, about 2 years ago, did a report about how the industry use the social media to market their products to people, and we made quite a number of recommendations. What is most important is that the Nigerian government needs to amend or revise our current laws on tobacco control to be able to, cover some of these emerging trends. The Nigerian Film and Video Censors Board has taken the right step by looking at how the tobacco industry has been using the movies and actually extended it to skits and the music videos to ensure that all the loopholes that have been adopted are plugged. And we think that this has become necessary because the industry to continue to come out with, innovative ways, if I may use the word, of recruiting smokers. And so the Nigerian government should be on top of this. Enforcement should be top-notch. There are several provisions that the Nigerian government can use, even in the current law, to ensure that our kids are not recruited into smoking. In about some years ago, the current First Lady actually read one of our reports that has to do with how tobacco industry deliberately, market tobacco products around schools. And there was a resolution. She was a senator as at that time by the Nigerian Senate that the enforcement of the ban of tobacco products around school should commence. We think the law enforcement agencies should begin to look at these laws that we have in this country and protect our children.
Interesting. Let me come to you, Mohammed Meikudi. Based on what Mr. Olufemi said, Nigeria has actually tried to, regulate tobacco through a number of laws and acts, including the National Tobacco Control Act of 2009 and 2015. It has also made a progress, on tobacco control by becoming a signatory to the WHO Framework Convention on Tobacco Control in 2024. But one wonders how strong these have been, in ensuring that children are not captured in this. You give us different tactics in the way these tobacco companies make themselves, present in the, their brands rather in the minds of the young ones. So if it is not good for the kids, then it shouldn't be good for the adults. Do you not feel that there should be an outright ban rather than the messages we are having after the advertisement where they say the Federal Ministry of Health warns that smokers are liable to die young? So how do you relate this vis-a-vis your research, what your company does and data initiative that your organization is promoting to the government of targeted countries on the continent?
Yes, so thank you for that question. So a lot of policies and initiatives can only move forward when data and information is available to make these evidence-informed decisions. So, of course, as you mentioned, the issue of tobacco use among children is a significant public health concern. We have studies currently like the Global Youth Tobacco Survey, which was done in 2008. You have the Global Adult Tobacco Survey, which was done in 2012, and the Stepwise Approach Survey, which was done in 2003. But the problem with a lot of this information is that, as you can see, it's dated. Most people don't like using information that's more than 4 to 5 years old to be able to pass policies which you suggested, such as, let's say, banning altogether. So existing surveys actually also have gaps, right? So GYTS only focuses on 13 to 15 years old. The Global Adult Tobacco Survey only focuses on 15 and older. And STEP Survey only focuses on 15 to 64. So what we're trying to do is the law. Nigeria has to pass laws on tobacco, doesn't take into consideration new products like e-cigarettes and shisha, for example. We also need gender-specific data, which allows us to understand the difference in tobacco use and patterns between boys and girls, so we can tailor interventions more specifically and more effectively. So these are the things that are the research that we're doing is leading towards.
Right. Let me get back to our Abuja studio where Akimbode Oluwafemi is. Recently, there was a ban of the use of perhaps tobacco products in movies and the likes. Talk to us, how did we get to that point, and what are we looking to achieve with that? How successful do you think, or how far this will go at addressing the matter of the influence this has on children?
Thank you very much. The movies, the screens generally, the skits are one of the ways that the tobacco industry have moved their advertising tactics, because what we know as the traditional adverts have been outrightly banned. And so you begin to see, when you watch some of these screens, unnecessary promotion, glamorization of smoking. And you know that entertainment, entertainers, actors, they are like role models for kids who are extremely impressionable. And studies after studies have shown that children do want to copy what they see on the screen. And so there is a global movement about smoke-free movies, smoke-free, and then we adopted it into what we call the smoke-free Nollywood in Nigeria. And that effort actually started way back 2005. We have to have a lot of engagement with stakeholders in the industry. It became intensified since around 2015 till now. What the Nigerian Film and Video Sales Board has done is to now come up with a regulation that will end the glamorization of smoking. We need to make that very clear. However, the regulation says where you have to show smoking for historical accuracy, for educational purposes, at the beginning of the movie, when that scene is actually screening, and at the end of the movie, you must include warnings about the harmful effects of tobacco products. And what this will help us to do is that Nigerian movies will begin to, carry warnings about the health effects and harmful effects of tobacco products. Nigerian movies will no longer have unnecessary smoking scenes, which can lure kids. Nigerian movies will no longer have the promotion of some of those products my colleagues had mentioned, the e-cigarette, shisha, and the rest of them. And that's a very good, positive development for this country. That regulation actually places Nigeria ahead of some countries in Africa in the implementation of the COP10 resolutions that says countries around the world should begin to take measures to end the use of the entertainment industry as a platform to recruit people. The most heartwarming thing is that this law will now enable the Nigerian Film and Video Censors Board to classify Nigerian movies that, in case there are scenes that have smoking, they will give them appropriate classification so that they will not be exposed to our kids.
Talking about classifications, I wonder how that is going to be, because sometimes they say this is rated 13, 14, and then we have 18 and all of that. But we see kids, who are watching these movies. I don't know how you think that would be effective, because I don't think it has been effective over the years.
Well, I think the most promising thing, actually, I must say that, was that at the event that we had in Enugu, about 51 of the professional associations, I must say this, actually made a pledge. They actually signed a code of practice to say, look, even before the board begin to regulate, we now realize that this is a problem. We are also parents. We don't want our children to smoke. We don't even want our actors to continue to die of tobacco-related ailments. And so they signed a code of practice to say, if in our production moving forward, we are voluntarily going to ensure that there is no more promotion of smoking in our movies. So we'll see a situation whereby the practitioners themselves are ready to move this forward. The practitioners themselves have made that pledge, and quite a number of them have actually gone ahead to actually make comments and statements about how to have smoke-free productions in Nigeria. And I think this is even the biggest win, that the stakeholders themselves are taking this as one big task that they need to do for this country and for public health.
All right, let's move our attention now to Mohammed Mekudi. If you can hear me, talk to us from your research, the impediments perhaps you have gotten you encountered rather, while you were carrying out your research, and then how are you going to ensure that critical stakeholders are captured?
All right, thank you. So in our research, we have encountered several impediments, particularly when interviewing children in Africa or Nigeria on sensitive health topics like tobacco use. One of the main challenges, of course, is parental interference. So often parents are understandably protective and may either be present or try and be present during interviews or influence their children's responses, which leads to less honest answers. Another major challenge is the lack of trust from children. Many young people are hesitant to open up about their tobacco use or their exposure to tobacco marketing due to fear of judgment or repercussions. And this hesitation can result in underreporting or incomplete information. And you also have the issues of cultural and societal norms. So in some communities, discussing health behaviors, especially those deemed inappropriate like smoking, can be considered taboo. And this cultural sensitivity complicates some of our efforts to gather honest and open responses from the youth. But to mitigate some of these things and ensure the views of critical stakeholders are captured despite these challenges, we are employing several strategies, one of them being building trust. So we're investing time in building rapport with both the children and the parents before conducting interviews. And this involves explaining the purpose of our research, ensuring confidentiality, and then emphasizing the importance of their honest response and helping improve public health initiatives in Nigeria. Another has been training local interviewers. So we're working with local interviewers who understand the cultural context and communicate more effectively with children and their families. And these interviewers are trained to create a comfortable and safe environment for the children to speak freely. We're also engaging parents or caretakers in the process by educating them about the importance of our research and the need for their children to provide honest answers. And by gaining this support, we often reduce interference and encourage more truthful responses. And of course, there's also anonymous data collection. So where possible, we use methods that allow these children to respond anonymously. So, and lastly is community involvement. So we are involving the states at the subnational level, community leaders and stakeholders such as civil society and academia in the research process. And this endorsement from them can help legitimize our efforts and encourage more openness from both parents and children.
So obviously it means that we need to do a lot more when we're talking about sensitization at perhaps that level for children going to schools to tell them what it is, how dangerous tobacco use is as it is.
Yes. So definitely more sensitization needs to occur, but it also needs to be targeted for the specific context. So whether you're targeting boys or girls, you're targeting the Northeast, Northwest, South, you need data to inform these initiatives and these sensitization drives that we're currently working on now, to provide Nigerian stakeholders the data they need to carry that work forward.
Right. Let me just quickly take this with you, our guest in Abuja studio, because I'm wondering how you feel there are some international examples of successful regulations that have effectively protected children from tobacco industry interference. One of the things which Mekudi mentioned is pricing. Do you feel that there is need to increase tax on the tobacco industry, so much so that it will get the pricing so high? Because research actually has it that children they run away from high price of any cost of good of commodities and services as against the adults. Mr. Oluwafemi, can you hear me?
I can't. Come again?
Yeah, I was trying to ask whether you feel that one of the ways we can regulate this is by increasing the price of the cost of tobacco, imposing tax, high-level tax on the tobacco companies, so as to deter children from buying them, because these would definitely jack up the price of tobacco products, as against the adults who would definitely want to buy things, if it's even though it's costly.
Yeah, thanks very much. So taxation is one of the most effective tools also of taking tobacco products out of the reach of children. Interestingly, also to reduce consumption among adults. Unfortunately, the taxation regime, the tax regime we have in Nigeria makes tobacco products, cigarettes, too accessible and too affordable. So we have been advocating that the Nigerian government should raise taxes on this product to the extent that it will influence price. We just don't raise taxes that will be absorbed by the tobacco industry, but that the tax regime on tobacco products, in accordance with global best practices, should be able to equate to 70% of the final retail price of that product. I know quite a number of us do travel to Western countries, and you find that a pack of some of the popular brands in Nigeria sells for like £7, $5, $7 in the US. And we're talking of about 1,000, 1,500 naira. However, same brands, same products selling in Nigeria for 250 naira, 300 naira, 150 naira. And so we think that, one, if the Nigerian government should increase taxes, it will be a double win for the country. Double win in terms of the public health outcomes. Children will no longer be able to buy some of these products. Of course, when you increase taxes, you also have to adopt measures like the ban of the sale in single sticks. When you allow people to sell cigarettes in single sticks, that means children could get, maybe their lunch money and the rest of them and go to, the malam and then buy. But when you then begin to retail, like it's been done in other parts of the world, no single sticks, and a cigarette costs between 1,500 to 2,000 naira, then we'll begin to see some of these significant decreases among the youths that we intend to see. In addition to that,
we need to leave the conversation here now. Unfortunately, our time is up. We need to end this conversation right now. Time is not our friend, unfortunately. So much has to be said, but so much has already been said, though. And we believe that stakeholders are listening. Akimbode Oluwafemi, Executive Director, Corporate Accountability and Public Participation, Africa. Thank you for your time, as well as Mohammed Maikudi, the data or Nigeria country lead, data on youth and tobacco in Africa Program Development Gateway. Thank you as well for your time.